Project Stardust is a very intricate and a very complex game with a lot of features and a lot of confusion. That's why I created this guide to try to help you on your first grind and your first playthrough of Project Stardust. I hope you enjoy the video, I hope you find it helpful, and I hope you watch again. Hello, and welcome to my beginner's guide for Project Stardust. When you first start the game, you'll be greeted with this menu. Only these two boxes will not be available to you, as they require the minimum of Tier 2 and Tier 3 ships. When you first start the game, you will only be able to access this tier here. And because the game is pretty dead, there aren't very many players nowadays. So there's usually only one server for low tier. Once you load into the game, you'll be greeted with this screen and this ship. This ship, unfortunately, is absolute garbage. And I don't think it should be the 4-starter ship of your game. Now, you can play as this ship, but I wouldn't recommend it. And personally, in my opinion, I believe in circling to the battle, you should first look at the tech tree. Now, the first time looking at the tech tree will be very, very confusing, as it's a very branching and complex system. However, it's not actually that complex. As you will notice, it starts off from the left with the Tier 1 ships, going to Tier 2, going to Tier 3, and onwards. Now, each ship builds up on the ship before it. So, if I want to play the Assault Frigates Mark 1, I'll have to have 15k XP with an Nebulon B and 25,000 credits, which is, pretty easy to get. But, in my personal opinion, I don't think you should start with the Star Wars tree, because it uses a lot of credits and a lot of time, and I don't think it's very good at teaching the game. Instead, in my opinion, I believe Expanse is the best way to start the game. So, Phantom is a free ship in the Expanse tree. It costs 0 credits, 0 XP, and it's a very solid ship. But for a starter ship, that is. You'll notice that once it's spawned in. Now, Expanse is really cool because it plays on more realistic physics than most ships. So, like Star Wars, it's very set movement, but in Expanse, it's not. First thing you will notice when playing is it's a very drifty ship. It likes to slide around and not really go where you want it to, where you want it to. The solution to this is the hard burn feature, which you can access by pressing space. This locks momentum and your speed direction once you press it. And it's used to move around. The second thing you'll notice, which isn't actually specified very early in the game, is range. These guns here have 28 kilometers range. So, if we look at this guy's name, underneath his name, there is this kilometer meter. This tells me how far away I am from him, and it links up with the range of my crosshair. See, 28. As you can see, I can't shoot it because I'm out of his range. Another thing the game does specify is the auto-aim feature. This feature will only work when you are locked onto someone, as seen here. But on Expanse, the main feature is not the guns. Guns are used as point defense, which means they will shoot down enemy missiles and enemy fighters. You can do this by pressing the little hyphen key on your keyboard. See? My crosses disappear, and now my guns are going to auto-lock onto missiles when they come near me. So, If the main feature of Expanse isn't the guns, then what is it? Well, it's actually the missiles. As you can see, by pressing 2 and then pressing left click while onto someone, they will auto-track to his location. That is really good because it has much higher range than a lot of the ships in the game. Meaning that all you really have to do is sit at the back of the map, wait for someone to get close to you, or get close to yourself. Expanse is very reliable for running credits because it's just so easy to play. However, one thing you should be wary of is other Expanse ships, or carriers. As they are fighters which are very hard to kill for the Expansives. Now, the problem is, this playstyle will get very boring quite quickly, and it's sometimes not that fun to play as the sniper in the back of the map, just killing people and taking off half their health each hit. So, fortunately, there is no way around that, and you'll just have to keep grinding up the tree until you have enough credits to start another, more fun tech tree. I would personally recommend starting with the MCRN, as they are much faster, much easier to control, and have much more range. The way the tech tree progresses is the Morrigan, the Corvette, and the Shandian, or the Raptor. Now, the Raptor is a tier 3, so it can't be used in low tier, see? But if you want to stay in low tier, then the Shandian is a very good choice, as it's much like the Corvette, only it does half the damage and can go stealth. One thing to remember about the Shandian is it does cost 500,000 credits, which is a lot of credits outside of the game. As you can see, most people will just shoot you immediately, but if I stop this, it's like going stealth quite quickly. You can't be seen and you can't be locked onto like I can lock onto this guy, because your name tag does not appear. You are invisible to everyone unless there is an anti-stealth ship in enemy team, which there aren't really a lot of those in low tier. The Shandian is best played when camping behind rocks or at range, because it has a 60 km range on its missiles. As seen here with this poor little Star Destroyer. He cannot hit me, but I can hit him. That is the main playstyle of Expanse, and how pretty much every ship plays in Expanse. Yet again, this playstyle can get very boring very quickly, but it's very useful for actually discovering what ships are in the game, like this ship here. As you can see, my missile did no damage to him. This is because he's playing an interdictor. If you notice, again, if he has a keen eye, he will activate his bottle. See? Now, this means that he is affected by missiles with his ability. Now I'm dead. You have to be very careful of what you shoot and where you shoot it, because some ships, like the Jormungandr in high tier Aureus, have armor on some parts of their bodies, so as you can see here. Once you have enough credits with Expanse, you can start pretty much at any texture you want, but I would personally recommend starting Halo, moving up towards the Port Stanley. The reason for this is because Port Stanley is a stealth ship, but that's not the actual reason for it. The actual reason is because of its EMP cannon. Now, at a first glance, this EMP cannon does not seem anything too special. It's 675 to 750 damage. But below it, you can see it actually does 128 times that to shields. Meaning this will virtually one-shot a lot of the shields in high tier. Now, this is especially good as it's a premium ship. If you don't know why premium ships are better for grinding credits than normal ships, it's because they have boosters applied into them. Give them acquire more credits and more XP for the same amount of work as a normal ship. This is why Port Stanley is, in my opinion, so essential for early game grinding, especially as it's not actually that hard to get. Once you're the Port Stanley, it's pretty easy to progress onto any other tech tree you want. But my personal suggestion would be to try get the Invisible Hand. This is a very medium range brawler with some very high damage and some very high credit gain. It's for this reason I recommend this ship, as it is so good when you pair it with the Port Stanley. Because if you play this, and then this dies, you can just go over and play the Port Stanley. Go camp behind a rock, spam missiles, delete someone's shield, and then when you die, go back to the Invisible Hand. This credit grinding technique is extremely good because it lets you grind so many credits so quickly. Another thing I should cover is boosters. Boosters are relatively self-explanatory, as their name literally tells you what they do. Where you use them, you click on them, and then click use. And now this booster is active for 7 minutes. These boosters are used once you die, and they will affect your XP gain once you're in the menu. Now, it's all well and good explaining these premium ships and how they cost gold, but I haven't explained what gold is yet. Gold is a premium currency of Stardust, and it's relatively easy to obtain. As you can see here, most challenges are modelled off of the ships that you actually have. So the Leonardus, the Ashura, and the Valesia. Sorry. As you can see here, I'm quite poor. I only have 1k gold. That's because I have a lot of premium ships such as the Harbinger. Gold at the start of the game is very, very hard to get. At least, I think so. I haven't actually started the game in a very long time. That's why gold conservation is so essential. You'll be asking, why don't I go and buy this ship here? You know, only 800 gold, 1,854 credits, and it's a Star Trek ship, so it's probably good. Although this ship is good, it's not as good for running credits as the Port Stanley, which is why I would push this ship so much. It earns so many credits per run, and it will definitely set you up for success in your grind.